Hello and welcome to episode 16 of our Timberborn Update 7 Folktails Hard Mode playthrough here in Cycle 22, Day 3. Last time we got started on our vertical farming here, and we're going to continue working on that, as well as improving some other things based on your feedback. And right on cue, looks like we got a bad tide coming in 3 days. So let's hit pause real quick, and because I wasn't expecting that, let's go ahead and take a look at our water situation, because we're really going to have to make sure that we're in a good position. Since we keep increasing the number of beavers we have, and we know we have to have more, it's only going to get worse from here. So what we did last time, to a certain extent, was kind of set up one of the excavation projects we've got going on over here. And I do have some dynamite here that needs to get blasted out. But... oh, that's super slow. What you guys were saying in the comments of the last video give me some pretty good ideas. And I think what's going to happen is, first of all, this dirt excavator doesn't need to be here anymore. It's going to continue to produce dirt just fine, but the reason I was putting them first here, now here, and then later on here was so that I could excavate out the continuing path for our water wheels here. And that was not something that I was wanting to do necessarily super quickly, but we have an opportunity with the dirt excavator to continue increasing the size of our reservoir. We have plenty of power here. We have our zipline station conveniently as well. So I think that's going to be a smart thing for us to go ahead and get working on, because this is basically already at the bottom of the map. There is one more level that this could go down, but we had decided not to go any lower than that, because this is actually right here, the lowest level of the map. And then this goes up one here where we have our aquatic farm. But instead of micromanaging a whole bunch of dynamite, we might as well just put another dirt excavator over here. So let's go ahead and get that set up. We have a perfect kind of intro to this right here. We just have to get rid of the pathways. And we already have this power shaft ready to go. We are going to go ahead and get this set up with that T intersection. Yeah, we'll just do the T intersection for now. That's probably fine. And then pop in the dirt excavator right next to it. Fits perfectly. And that's going to get these 5 squares. I know there's technically, you know, 6 of these that are already about as far down as we want them to go. But this is going to be tremendously helpful. And it should be able to get done without too much weeping or gnashing of teeth. So let's get that hooked up here. Very convenient to our zipline station, and they're going to be working on that as a way to increase our capacity for water storage prior to the bad tide. But what we did last time also is we increased our storage with additional tanks, and we've got 5 of these regular water pumps that are currently staffed. We're at an equilibrium in terms of vacancies versus available beavers. We do have 3 that are incapacitated, and we're going to talk about that later as well. But you guys have been getting on me a little bit, not in a bad way, but just reminding me, like, hey, like, don't forget to do this. The large water pumps are a lot more efficient. You take a look at that number there. That's every third of an hour we get 5 water from one of these, versus every third of an hour we get 1 water from one of these. And this will have up to 3 beavers working to get that, so it's actually more efficient in terms of production and in terms of labor usage. The only problem is it does have to be researched, which we have 23,000 science, so let's go ahead and do that. And it does require the treated planks, but we've had those for a really long time. We just haven't been using them. So I think what's going to make sense for us to do now is just get this popped in right here. Super easy. Get a large water pump right there, because that's a convenient place for that to go, and let them get started building that. But we only have 3 days, so I know there's not going to be any tremendous amount of progress made with this in that time. So what I think we should focus on is getting this large water pump going and pump as much of this as we can while there's still more flowing in to refill it. So that's going to get going with that, and we can continue moving on. We want to talk about this right here, our multi-story farm, because we've got a lot of tremendous stuff happening down here. I'm going to go ahead and unplant these, and the reason why is because a bunch of you suggested, I think chronologically, it might have been our friend Steve who has said, hey, turn this into the aquatic farm first. I know a lot of you made comments about it, but scrolling back, that did seem to be the first one that mentioned it in last video's comments, at least. So I really do want to do that. I think that's a cool idea. One, because, you know, it's the bottom, so you might as well just flood it and make it a replacement for this, which would also allow us to deepen this to the bottom of the map, and then think about maybe expanding the reservoir a little bit as well. But we got to talk about what's going to happen. See, this is already ready to go. Perfect. Very nice. They're going to continue working on that. For us to make this into an aquatic farm, we are going to have somewhere for the aquatic farmhouse to go. And that opens up another interesting discussion, and I'm going to go ahead, as soon as we have daylight, I'm going to pause and go into dev mode to show you what will and will not work. Because I did spend a little bit of time messing with this. But long and short of it is, since we're still waiting for the time to go, you have the ability to attach these other buildings to zipline stations and get additional range. But it's not as good as you might think it is at first glance. So let's go ahead and just demonstrate. I'm going to hit pause here. And just to show you guys how this works, I am going to do this in dev mode so we don't have to wait or expend any other resources for it. We are going to get rid of it, and I'll delete all the rebels, so don't worry, we're not cheating or anything. But if I go ahead and put a zipline station, say, right here, and then right across from it, let's say the aquatic farmhouse, because that's what we're currently discussing. Now, I can't kiss these together. These I can't do that with, but if I put an aquatic farmhouse right across here, so those are connected, just go ahead and hit finish. So these guys, just for the sake of our argument here, I'm going to get rid of that, and then I will temporarily connect this. No, stop that. Connect this to here. So what that does is that now increases the range of this guy to part of the range adjacent to this station, because it does transfer some of it, not all of it, some of it, as you can see here, through the zip line. But the problem that we're going to have with this is, you can see right here, we take this all the way down, there's really not very much space that it actually has access to, which is unfortunate, because I think that's a really cool idea, and I was really happy to read that. Those of you who told me about it in the comments, and then a little bit of discussion on the Discord as well. I really am a little upset that this doesn't work as well as I thought it would. But I did want to show that to you, just so we can all be on the same page about why I'm not going to do it. In this specific instance, it's just not going to work. It's not going to make the most sense. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that, and then, like I said, I will get rid of all of these pieces of debris as well, so we don't accidentally inject more of that than necessary. Let's just get that hooked back up. All right, so out of dev mode. So we're back in normal mode. Get this thing going again. That being said, there is still a little bit of cool stuff we can do with these zipline stations. So I'm going to, hopefully editor me remembers, 9 minutes 21 seconds into the recording, to put in this screenshots that were shared with me. I think this is really cool. You can take the you can take the zipline stations and you can attach them to each other, which I'm not going to have them build it, but you can hatch these guys right next to each other, and what that does is create a little interchange. Like we talked a little bit about right here, why these were not going to be directly attached to each other, because I didn't want them to be able to get out and go to these other things. But you can do this, and not only can you do this with two of them, you can have like a whole series of these, depending on how you connect them, and you can have one incoming line from this. You'll see it in the screenshots that I'm going to put in. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, remake all that, but if I'm reading it correctly, you can have one of those lines come into one of these stations and then go out to 6 different diverging things. There's 5 or 6, one of those kind of crazy multipliers of effectiveness here, and I think that's really cool. It's so cool to be able to just manipulate this kind of a mechanic in a way that I never would have thought to do to that extent. So that was pretty cool. I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys. But now let's get back to the topic at hand, which is turning this into an aquatic farm. Now, the aquatic farmhouse cannot be submerged. It has to be dry. So that is going to create a little bit of a challenge for us in terms of placing this thing. Because, again, it doesn't need to get wet, and it does have the height of 2 blocks. So while this guy can go on the ground, the aquatic farmhouse isn't going to be able to do the same. It's going to have to be on the level above, right next to one of these ladders, I think is going to be the best way to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it's going to make the most sense to put maybe right here as this continues getting built up, and just have it attached directly to this path, either right here or right here, because that's going to be closest to the ladders, and it's also going to be closest to the zipline station, which just makes the most sense. So we might not be able to have a tremendously huge range with this. I mean, it's got a really long range as it is, but you know, being 3 blocks higher is going to have that diminished a little bit. So we'll get to that in due time. Somebody had made a comment saying that we wanted to make sure that this was set to close above downstream depth after a certain point, because there is a desire not to flood things. I mean, as long as this is flowing off the end of the map, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I will make sure that is turned back on. These guys are set correctly. Those have always been correct. We've known that for quite some time. But I just wanted to make sure we're in a decent spot for that. These guys, oh, they don't have a dirt storage. They don't have a dirt storage. That is a problem. How am I going to fix that? Because I don't really have room for whatever. Because this is basically full. We're not using the dirt. So unfortunately, it seems like I might have wasted a little bit of time and effort here. I think for the sake of where we are right now, it's going to make the most sense to just go ahead and put in a underground pile there and get that hooked up just so we have somewhere to put all this stuff. I know this is not where this is going to stay forever, but that's going to work there. Our water storage is about where it has been for other droughts and bad tides at a little over 3,000, which, you know, isn't really great, but this has been tremendously helpful in getting that number up, and we are going to continue pumping. I don't think we're going to have any problems with running out of water because, you know, it's just not an issue. We're not consuming that much of it. But these guys are going to be doing what they're doing. Depending on how long the bad tide's going to be, I might end up shutting this off for a little bit. But I think we're going to be okay. We're just going to have to, you know, take a little bit better advantage of this with more large water pumps and increasing the capacity of the reservoir over time with excavation. So that's what we're working with there. Now that we're not really having to worry about too much else with whatever else is happening, I think we're in a pretty good spot. So, bad tide's starting. How long is it going to be? Okay, so 22 days could definitely be a whole lot worse. The amount of water we have right now is probably fine. I'm going to go ahead and turn off all but one pump just to kind of decrease the amount that we're actually taking out. And we gotta get something going here. I know flooding this for an aquatic farm is going to consume a tremendous amount of water, and that is why I went ahead and put in the large water pump first. But you know the drill at this point. This is a very long project. It was never going to be a quick one, but you know how it goes. We just got to take our time, make sure we just get stuff done, and don't focus on stuff that's going to drag us down here. So I'm just going to unplant these because I do think that needs to be where the aquatic thing goes. And that is why I unplanted all of the wheat here. We're still doing okay with that. The maple pastry numbers have increased, but they're not increasing fast enough for my personal... I don't even know what word I was going to follow that with. They're not increasing fast enough, so I'm going to put another bakery in at some point. But we still have the problem of not having enough beavers to do all of our jobs. So we do have the mine paused, but we have to unpause it because now we're out of scrap metal. And that raises the problem of what do we do about all the beavers getting injured in the mine? And we had a good suggestion. A couple people, at least, said that we should create a little mining village over here with some supplies, food, water, so on and so forth, and a couple of houses, just so, you know, the beavers aren't having to go all over the place to get stuff accomplished. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put in housing for, we got 6 beavers that can go there. And then we'll need to put in, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but go ahead and put in some water. And then, you know, actually, we don't need to have anything else. I guess I should put 2 little water things in there. And then a little tiny storage for, let's say, potatoes. Grilled potatoes are always a safe bet. So we got a little bit of food, we got some water, and we're going to have some beavers living here. The game does kind of randomly assign jobs sometimes, and there are mods to make that a little bit better. Housing optimization, I cannot remember if I have any of them installed right now. But I do know that Bobbing About, the creator of the Ember Pelts mod and a whole bunch of other stuff related to that, does have one for the Ember Pelts, and I'm using that in that playthrough. But to be perfectly honest, I don't know if I turned that off when I loaded this one. So I guess we'll see what happens. Well, we probably won't see what happens, but you get what I'm putting out. You get what I'm putting out. So we will need to put in a little bit more in the way of, say, medical beds, just in this general area. We do have this scavenger flag taking care of that. But 5 extra beds over here. 6 housing for 6. We might as well go ahead and just put in a couple more medical beds. We have 8 now. They can continue working on that. Because you can see already, this is just like a comical amount of injuries occurring at the mine. It's got to be the devs saying, hey, stop doing this and make bots, which we're going to get to at some point. But you know how it goes. We got plenty of other stuff to take care of, and we don't really need to be focusing on too much else. So let's see. You know what? I'm just going to say get rid of this. We don't really want to spend too much time waiting. We want to play the game. We want to have the fun of actually getting stuff accomplished. So, yeah, come and get these sunflowers out of here. I'm going to put my aquatic farmhouse in, and we're going to see what the range looks like. If it's not tremendously good, then we might have to abandon the idea and just have the aquatic farm be the top or something. But I really like that idea, and a lot of you guys do too. So I'm going to do my best to make it happen, even if it's not perfect. Because you know our deal. It's a let's play, not a watch me play. If I just ignored everybody's suggestions, it wouldn't be as fun. And I never really like to play that way. So these guys right here, continuing to get this excavated a little bit. We'll continue monitoring that. But for right now, considering there's no more water flowing into it, I am going to pause this. And yeah, because we just have so many injuries. I have 1,800 planks. Man, I'll tell you what. Let's pause 2 of these lumber mills and 1 more gear workshop. I know that's only a couple of beavers, but paper mill can also get paused. We have this this bad water rig we haven't done anything with. But we have 1,500 bad water stored right now. So I kind of want to pause these bad water pumps, but I'm kind of afraid of running out. But I don't know, 18 days. I don't think we can go through 1,500 bad water. So let's just help the cause by doing that. Now we have 12 that are unfilled. And now we got these guys here. Are any of them working in the mine? Let's take a look. Try to remember these names here. Doesn't look like any of those are. Yeah, no, okay, so I probably do not have the housing optimization mod turned on. But we do have medical beds available. We've got water can get brought in here relatively easily there. And hopefully 22 incapacitated beavers. Man, see, this is actually annoying, but I have 26 medical beds, so I guess we're okay. As you guys have noted, they're very cheap to build. It does no harm to have extras. I just am tired of them getting injured. It's very annoying. So aquatic farmhouse here. We don't have to have it actually completed to take a look at the range. And it does look like, well, what's currently excavated at the very least is going to cover everything. So that's good. We can just leave that there. That's going to be totally fine. We can fit another platform on top of this. No issues. Although it is kind of funny. The very, very top of the building, those little beams there, does stick through the middle platform right there. So, I thought it was funny. So now we have down here a little bit of wheat that is still growing, and it does need to be removed. This farmhouse here can't be removed until this wheat is gone, and I am going to let it continue growing. But, as you guys have noted, we don't need these paths here. So, I'm going to go ahead and remove those. What is this? Logs and planks, don't need that. Take this back out. But yeah, because we have the zip line, we really don't need to worry about this being here. Just get that out of the way. And we should be all good to go. So, now that we've put our aquatic farmhouse on this second level, a similar thing that we've, learned happened with the efficient farmhouse. We can click on this guy. It has easy access and probably will to basically the entirety of this second floor. So what I'm going to end up doing is when we build the next level of this, I'm going to put the farmhouse on that, not on this second level. And I think that's going to work out just fine. We'll put them right next to another ladder, maybe on this side. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We've got plenty of time, plenty of stuff to take care of, and we just need to make sure that this is set up correctly. Obviously, it's going to take time. So we'll just continue doing what we're doing here. We do still have 21 incapacitated beavers, but at least we have a few more living over here, and I know that's not going to be adequate long term. We do have to continue growing here, but I got to get a handle on the suburban sprawl of it all, if you will. We have ladders here, so we can, if we feel so inclined, put in a couple more rooftop terraces, just in convenient locations, and I do think I will put one of those here, and just because we can, I will go ahead and put another one here. Remember, it doesn't have to be beautiful, it just has to work. Just like Skyrim on Smart Fridge, which I actually think would be a horrible playing experience, but they probably made it anyway, because, I don't know. They just can't let that game die. It's been 14 years, 13 and a half years. But, I digress. I will eagerly await Elder Scrolls 6. Hopefully it's on a different engine. But, regardless, giving these guys some more opportunities to put in their recreational time on the rooftop terraces. Never a bad thing. A bad thing with an H. My brain is imploding more and more every single day, and it's probably concerning, but we're going to keep moving on. If I can put a couple more of these things like contemplation spots. Oh, you know what? Those don't allow us to put platforms on top, but you know what we can do is we can use overhangs. So, we are creating, yet again, more just hideous, absolutely ugly, complex stuff here, but, it's fine. It's probably going to get all removed and made prettier at some point in time, but today is not the day. Just increasing the ability of our beavers to do literally anything, so that's always a good time. And I can't put a letter there. I was thinking about it. But you want to make sure they have stuff to do. And you also need to increase your capacity for storing beavers, which I am very, very, very bad at doing. But I think over here is a decent opportunity for us to put in a couple more of these lodges there. If I swap this guy to the other side, I can put some stuff in the middle. And I think, update 7 allows me to put the ladder in just like that. So if we do that, then I've got space here. What can I shove in here that's going to not be completely stupid? Or if it is completely stupid, what would be a huge benefit? Beaver statues. Oh, yeah, look at that. Yeah, to see this guy all day, every day. Pop that guy in right there, and that's going to cover a whole bunch of these things. Love to see that. What about... oh, there's so many opportunities. So many opportunities, but we'll just keep it going with all this stuff here. Let them get a little bit more, so we, at the very least, can have buffer beavers for when people get, exploded at the mine or get their limbs ripped off. You just stick them in the bed, they'll be good. She'll be right, mate, or whatever our Aussie friends say. Let's go ahead and get some more terrain in place now that we do have north of 200 metal blocks. And how are we looking on our wheat? Oh, good. It can almost all be removed. Probably not the right time to be flooding this for, what's it called? Aquatic farming. But now that this is sitting here ready to go, we can, at the very least, start getting the entire bottom ring set up, which means we have so much wood. Just unbelievable amounts of wood. We're going to go ahead and get those trees out of there without worrying about it. And I do need to expand this out. Now remember, our irrigation range is, I believe, 16, maybe? This is 5, this is 10, this would be 15 about here, which we do, I think, need... We can always put dirt back. Not a big deal. We can always put dirt back if we need to. But if that's 5, that'll get us down there, and of course we have this problem to deal with. But I am gonna have to maybe play a little bit of dirt defense here, and we might end up blowing stuff up that we've put down already just for the sake of, you know, having access to it. But I think I'm gonna just come right across here, just so we have the ability to get stuff accomplished without worrying too much about it. I put in a... I guess this is fine here. We'll just put that in place. Want to be able to put this in so that we don't have to worry about bad water infecting the crops. This will evaporate in about 20 days. Provided it doesn't already flow off the side of the map here. I know we got a lot coming in this way. I don't know. Lots to think about. But you can only do what you can do. That doesn't make any sense. Look, it made sense in my head, and that's what we're going with, so... Sorry about you. Get the rest of this stuff in place. I guess... see, if it's 15 here, it probably isn't going to need to have all of these brought up this way, but we're not going to know until it gets all the way down to the very bottom, and we're going to see what the range is looking like. I can see it starting to disappear around the corner there, so... I don't want to get rid of this either, but I guess I can just go ahead and pop that out. Oh no, you cut it off. Well, you know, it's going to be all right. We're not going to need to be that concerned. This is the bottom of the map, so to avoid wasting materials, I just have to count, which we all know can be a very challenging prospect. But yeah, 2. Now, I'm not so dumb as to demolish this piece and let all of that flood in place. Just so we're all on the same page, I am going to leave that corner bit in, so it can't flood stuff. But this is going to require a little bit of gymnastics to get everything accomplished, which we can do with the help of... Not that one. We can do with the help of this guy. I'm just going to say right here because I can. Not really any reason otherwise. We'll just get that put in place. Try to get the rest of this taken care of in a way that's not going to be completely stupid. And move on with our lives. Now we still have tons of water in here, which is good. That means I can turn our big pump back on. Much more efficient. Turn this guy off so we can have one more beaver. And it seems our beaver stock is increasing. So as soon as we start having unemployed beavers, then I can turn the rest of these on. But I wanted to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck. It is only 6:55 p.m. How am I already this tired? Life goes on. I guess while we're here, we can talk a little bit about the zip lines. A couple people have expressed concern that this is a very inefficient layout. And yes, you would be correct. It is incredibly inefficient. But I do have a vision for this that I think is going to make sense over time as we continue going and improving stuff. This is just here because it's here. We're going to redo everything. I do want to have the Grand Central Terminal, whatever you want to call it, of zipline station stuff. Now that we know we can kiss them together, like we did in the water beavers with the what are those things even called? The pit and ladder lodges with the large storage. You can just like make the entrances touch each other, and then you know, that greatly increases mobility and storage space efficiency. It's kind of a beautiful thing. But it looks like this is now safe, good to go. We will not be blowing this tile up until all of that water is evaporated. But, oh, I forgot about this. Well, that's something we can solve by building that metal platform, which, you know, is going to be a whole thing. But we can go ahead and detonate this. And yes, the infection is going to spread through here, but most importantly, what we can see is that the irrigation stops right about here. So we didn't actually need to go this far. And we can check and see if that contamination barrier is going to be enough to kind of get rid of the rest of this. We will see what happens. But this is mostly what I want to know, is how far out could I actually plant stuff? And it seems like any amount of green on any given square means you can plant something. It just might not look like it's super irrigated. But it looks like that is going to be 13 squares out from the path. And the path is also a square that should count, so that would be 14. That seems about right, but we might, if the tendrils of doom go away, then we might get that 15th, which would be this one. We'll just, have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. But that is going to take a little bit of time, and all we can do is just kind of wait. But that's part of the fun with this. We'll just have to see how it goes as it goes. And I think, yeah, see, look at this. We still have 23 incapacitated beavers. This is a beaver mincemeat making machine. Sheesh. Yeah, we got to get going on bots at some point soon. But right now, my focus is on aquatic farming over here. So now that we know, regardless of what this ends up being, we know we can get 13. So this right here, see that is 2. So this gets us, in this center bit, this gets us to 10. This would be 11. This would be 12. This would be 13, which actually ends up working really nicely because this is where the contamination barrier is. But since it is a bad tide and we have successfully diverted, we have the opportunity to, yes, put in terrain that we're going to explode later, but don't worry. It's going to be okay. Going to be fine. Don't worry about it. This would allow us to have 14, if that's the case there. Plus, that would require us moving the contamination barrier anyway. But there's a bunch of moving parts, right? It all has to work together. That's the way she goes. And that's what's going to have to happen there. But I'm excited about this. I think this is really stinking cool. Like, there's something really neat about feeling like you kind of got away with something, even though the game is absolutely designed to do this. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. But I love the idea of the vertical terrain stuff. But we've been talking about this since, I don't know, how old is Timberborn now? It's been in main release for, was that September 2021? I think is when I started playing it. And ever since the people were like, hey, can we stack terrain? Can we put it on a platform? It's like, no, it's never going to work, never going to work. And now we have it. And it's like, okay, cool. Let's actually get something done here. So go ahead and put those in place because we know that's going to be a deal. That needs to be there. That needs to be there. Perspective kind of messes with me. But this is going to be 10. That gets us to 10, 11, 12, 13 here. So I want to see this completed, and it's almost done. But as soon as that's the case, then we know for sure on the very center, if we can get past that 13, I should call this 14, but I just say 13 because it's easier to count from the edge of this metal platform. But if this is 14, if I can get the 15, that would be fantastic. But what I'm trying to say is this is basically the perfect place for us to have put this, because there's not going to be that much other terrain modification we're going to have to do to make this work. And that is fun stuff. Okay, so now we're at 1,400 water. It is slowly going up. It was down to about 1,200. And we do have about half the reservoir left. And once we get this turned back on, when we have enough beavers, then they're going to, of course, have additional capacity because of that. But time marches on. This is put in, and unfortunately it has not reduced the contamination at all, because I kind of failed to do that correctly. So I know. Let's try that. Let's try that and see if that that does anything. I mean, once this goes away in another 10, 15 days, then it shouldn't be as big of an issue. But we do need to probably do something with that. And honestly, what I probably should have done this whole time was, continue bringing this out this way to just kind of create a diversion thing like that. And I think they can do that, probably. I just want to make sure this isn't going to backfill, flood, or anything, and this does still have enough edges once the water gets out here, I think, to not be a problem. But we do need to get this moved over this way. Oh, so many projects, and it's so easy to just lose track of what you're doing in all of the excitement here. I know, that's never happened before. Never. Never, never, never. That'll be something we can improve, and then, of course, that gets removed. You know the drill. So pardon my pausing for another coughing fit. It's getting very old. But we have made some nice progress over here, and I'm not going to detonate this until they get all these bits of land in place so we don't have any accidents. That's done. So, okay, this is much closer to what I was expecting now that we don't have the tendrils of doom over here. But this is 13 to here, like we said was going to be a thing. I'm going to go ahead and remove this bit here. And I think if I'm careful with how I do this, I can actually get... No, get that out of here. I can actually just remove all of this here, not have to worry about it. They should be able to access most of this. I always forget, like, the arrows if they prohibit building when nothing's behind them, but I think it's only if they connect. Regardless, please get the tendrils out of here so I can actually see what's going on. Ah, man, alright, this is annoying. I don't like these. I really don't like these. They do nothing. Ah, jeez. Well, they're going to take care of that. We know for a fact we can get at least this much here. Trying to keep so much of this in the common sense way as I can. I know for sure I want a 5x5 here, and I think that's going to be about the limit of the corner. But I'm just not sure. Like, I feel like I have to blast all of this out to know for sure exactly what I'm going to be able to do. And that's not really a fast or glamorous process. So I do think it's going to have to be another time lapse, I know. But at least you guys do seem to appreciate that I try to waste as little of your time as possible when we get to this repetitive, tedious stuff like this. So I'm going to play around with some explosives and getting stuff put in place. I don't know how long it's going to take. I really would like to be finished with that by the end of the Bad Tide, but you know how long some of this stuff takes sometimes. It's not really going to be a super quick process. So, whatever we accomplish by whatever point in time I decide enough is enough, we will take a look and see what our irrigation range is looking like. Okay. Time-lapse went a little bit longer than I originally wanted to, but I think I finally got the answer to my question here, with a whole lot of moving around different dirt piles and blasting stuff we probably didn't have to, so on and so forth. But we can safely ignore all of this because this is currently irrigated. This side is giving us the answers that we seek. This is our, we're going to call this 10. It's really 11. But from here, we've got, okay, if that's going to be 11, that's 12, that's 13, that's 14. This right here is 15. That is 15. So it stands to reason that something planted here would actually be able to grow as well. So for the purposes of what we are trying to accomplish, I'm going to, since I know we can't actually grow it yet, I'm going to start planting spatterdock in the perimeter of what I think is going to grow. So if that goes all the way there, all the way here, we'll call this, I guess, technically 15, then it stands to reason that this would be the same on every range, going every other way when we have all this stuff taken care of. So if that's the case, just looking at like the amount of green that's on there, that would fit there, that would fit there. Now there is a little bit of green here, but there's not Oh, that's green. That's a tiny bit of green. So it seems like that is a viable thing here. Let's go ahead and remove this bit. So now we can actually see everything. It seems like that is going to work there. That's going to work. I made a mistake trying to get this blasted out, obviously. If you watched the time-lapse, then you saw it. But I think how this is set up right now, this should... There's a tiny bit of green here that should actually work planting. Now, obviously, when we have water in the bottom of this, it's all going to be irrigated anyway. This isn't necessarily for the aquatic farm so much as it is for the levels above it. Because it stands to reason that the same irrigation range for the bottom level would be for the ones above it as well. So if I can get that situated, then all I've got to do is I've got to have, around the outside, I can decide if I'm going to put in a 5x5 platform, because what that's going to allow me to do is for the levels further up, I don't have to put the 5x5 in the middle. I could just put 5x1s around the outside and have all of that space that's actually irrigated be used for planting. Now, does it really matter if you have a giant multi-level farm? No, probably not. But I am very interested and invested in making this make as much sense as possible. So, hopefully you can understand the method behind the madness with this. I know it's not really the most exciting thing to watch 2 straight episodes of me trying to fiddle-faddle around. Do they still sell that stuff? I don't know. But I give it to you straight. This is the authentic me learning, trying to learn, you know, making those hamsters on the wheels inside my brain run as hard as they possibly can and get this stuff figured out. But what we've learned here is that essentially this corner right here, we know for sure we can have this kind of like a plus-shaped thing. It's 4 this way, 5 this way, excuse me, including the center. 5 in the plus shape, and then you have these 3 here. Or these 3. There's more than 3. There's 4. Look. My brain is trying so hard. Please. Please. Math is hard. You have this guy here, this guy here, this guy here, and this guy here. And then, depending on how the rest of this is going to look when all of this other water is removed, I'm pretty sure here, here, and then here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here are also going to be fully ready to go. So, I don't know. Just go ahead and put me in a home. It's over. I can't do basic math anymore. But we have all of these guys and potentially all of these guys once they're built as well. That is a tremendous quantity of real estate, and then the only thing we'd really have to do past that is figure out this corner bit, which looks like pretty much everything but this very, very, very corner piece are going to be able to be irrigated. Yeah. So if that's the case, we might as well just make this a 5x5, and then we have a dead piece in the corner. But the problem that has always been something to deal with this is we just can't make the metal fast enough, and I don't really... Okay, this guy can go. I don't really want to scale this up any higher because, you know, we're not going to need that much metal production at the end of the day anyway. It's just a matter of, you know, trying to get stuff done in a manner that is not just completely and totally stupid and a huge waste of time. So, I appreciate you guys humoring me when it comes to this stuff. I know it's not the most exciting, whatever, and you're welcome to unsubscribe, click off, dislike, you do what you want. Your time is valuable, and spending it with me, some videos is probably a little bit better of an investment than others, but I'm always glad to have you here as part of the authentic learning process. So, again, the reason that I stopped this before this bad tide starts is we wanted to check and make sure how our water situation was looking. And we did expand this quite a bit, so that's pretty helpful. But the more important thing is that our storage is looking really nice. We do have about 1,300 extra capacity. I do have these guys pumping as much as they can, but for the population we have now, it looks like we're doing just fine. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and unpause this. Because, spoiler alert, we're going to have another time lapse as we continue working on this. I told you I'm committed to having this actually functional. At least the lower aquatic farm level before the end of this episode. But we might as well go ahead and check range on this. Oh yeah, we're in such good shape with the range on this. Like, it's not going to get quite as far out as I think I want. But honestly, if this covers all of this, then that's pretty stinking good. It might not be quite enough to evenly harvest everything. We might want to put a second one in just for the sake of getting throughput fixed. But honestly, I think we're in a really, really good spot. And you might have also noticed that I put this extra terrain wall in because I want to prevent this from backfilling with poison water. Because what we're going to be able to do, possibly, is continue making this part of a reservoir that we could pump from, or just, you know, have it not be poisoned so we can make more industrial area stuff. And part of what I was doing with this was I was really trying to make sure that we still had enough edges to allow all the flow to come off the side, and I think that's still going to be fine. But 18-day bad tide starts now. We have plenty of storage. It's honestly looking really good. And for the first time, we have a surplus of beavers. So I think we can feel really, really good about how this is developing. Of course, there's still plenty of other stuff we got to get to, and it really does just take a lot of time, folks. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's not a quick process. I don't really do big mega builds on this channel, and that's a lot of people really want to see that kind of stuff, and I'd like to do it. I just, you know, don't want to take the time to try to experiment in real time without the time lapsing, because honestly that's kind of disrespectful of your time. So however insane you think it is for me to be doing this level of time lapsing here that we're currently seeing, just know it could be a whole lot worse. It could be a whole lot worse. So as we continue going about all of this, we might as well do our acknowledgements, end of episode fun, and then at the very end, before we say goodbye, we'll get all of the actual farming started. But again, I say it every single time, and you might be tired of hearing it, whatever. I'm going to say it every single time. Beard boosters make this possible. Cannot do it without your support. The stability and the direct contributions from all of you, and even if you're not part of that, just watching the videos helps too. But specifically, what the Beard Boosters do makes it possible for me to just continue doing it without any question of, oh, is this actually going to perform well, whatever. Stability is a great thing to have. It's very, very comforting to know that whatever time I spend on doing this stuff, there's still some people in my corner who will fight the algorithm with their own hands, so to speak, and make sure that we can just continue doing the series we want to do without having to cut something short because, oh, the videos aren't performing too well. And, like, no. I want to play the game. I want to have a good time playing the game and promote an environment where we can just enjoy each other's company, relax, and watch some animated beavers do some fun stuff. So the world needs that. I need that. You need that. And those folks make it possible. So really appreciate them. And, of course, anything, even if it's just a single video that you watch, I'm glad to have you here. Very, very glad to have you here. Let's see what these beavers got up to in this time-lapse, and then we'll get everything all sorted so we can say the aquatic farm is actually up and running. So while this longer-than-expected time-lapse is occurring, I guess I could explain a little bit about what I've discovered here, and that is more or less, I got it right. Not perfect, but correct enough to where I don't think we're going to need to worry about it. So what you're going to see as this continues is the very, very slow process of getting all of the extra space blasted out and the rest of these metal supports put in place, and then dirt on top of that as best as I can figure out before we actually end the time lapse, and then flood the bottom, put an aquatic farm in, and call it a day. Okay, that was a really, really long time in real life, but fortunately for you, it was condensed very, very, very strongly. So what happened here was I believe I've made about as close to a quote-unquote perfect circle as I possibly could. I think there's been a couple of spots where I might have made a little bit of a mistake, but we're just going to let those slide the best we can. I know I've got a couple of these corners here that might look like things are super wrong, but I can assure you it's about as good as I was going to be able to get it. So let me just pull this back again here. So what we've got here is the center is 5, and then I've got 2, I've got 2 more, I've got 3 more, then I've got 1, and then this little bit in the corner here is a 5x5. Let's see if I can just show that to you. Okay, well, not really, but basically how this thing works is it is a 5x5 grid of 5x5s, with the center 5x5 being replaced by the pillar that has the dirt, and then on top our irrigation. And then around that, we have this circular-ish set of platforms and then overhangs on top of them that gives us the roughly circular-ish farm thing. And you'll notice this is the actual irrigation. Ignore this bit up here. But this bit around here is the actual irrigation of the tiles. We should be able to plant on just about every tile that doesn't have a platform on it. Let me just go ahead and repopulate these since they are present here. This bit in the corner has to have dirt on top of that, I think. I don't know, man. Honestly, my brain is a little bit fried right now. I've been doing this for almost 3 hours, which is not normally how long I play this game. But I hope you can understand what I'm getting at with this. All that being said, I did promise several times, probably a mistake, but we're going to do it anyway, because I don't want to let you guys down. We are going to flood the bottom of this. Whether or not it is the perfect thing, we are going to make it what we have. So we're going to turn this into our aquatic farm, which means we have to have a way to irrigate this. Now, one of the things that I had considered previously was to just have this entire column be water. We could put a sluice at the very bottom, but it's a little late for that, how this is set up. So what I think we can do, since we already have this water dump here, I did have to put some dirt in here to make sure this was going to be able to, fit our almost perfectly circular, but not quite, but we're going to call it good enough, irrigation thing here. I did have to reduce this to what looks like a thumb or whatever this is. So I think what we're going to be able to do is right here in the center, just for the sake of, stuff looking nice, I'm going to blast this all the way down. And then, at least for now, until we come up with something different, or if we come up with something different, then we'll change it at that time. But this is going to irrigate this entire bottom bit here. And that might require, initially, a little bit of help from some additional water dumps. But once that's in place, it should maintain pretty well. We can also come in through here and put in another one of these sluice gates. But remember that this is only going to be active during a good tide, which is a very, very small percentage of the time. But it's going to help us out enough for right now that I'm going to go ahead and just work on this at the same time. We'll put in a double dynamite here. And remember, because we have this on top of a platform, that the sluice will fit under it no problem. Just got to get somebody up here, and I think easiest way to do that's just going to be to put in a staircase right there. Set that to priority. Set that to priority. It won't be crying anymore once the staircase is built. But this is going to help us initially fill it, and then this will help us maintain things relatively automatically. It should be okay. But we do, of course, have to do all of this anyhow. So there's not going to be any concern over, are we going to flood stuff? Because that's kind of what we're trying to do. So we'll let them do what they got to do. Get this locked and loaded. You take a look at down here. It is going to have a little bit of a flooding problem if we don't take care of this correctly. But I got a plan. We'll make this work. It should be pretty interesting, at the very least, if nothing else. Of course, they haven't gotten to that bit yet. But just so you know, this is going to flood here. But it's going to make its way down like so, and we shouldn't have any problems. We're just going to have to slightly modify how the rest of this is set up. It's going to make sense. Don't worry. It just has to be a little bit funky before it gets to be a little bit not funky. Mom, help, he's saying nonsense again. Look. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So you block this out, and then you put in your sluice gate there, and then right on top we can put some stuff. That is going to close above downstream depth. We'll say 0.9, just so we can make sure we always have something coming in here. And then later on we will want to, divert this once we have the ability to get that accomplished. But the goal here is, of course, to get this whole thing flooded so we can start growing crops and finally end this episode after 800,000 years. So get that popped in place, turn this off so I can actually see something. How far down did we make it? Good, that's all the way down as far as it needs to go. You know the drill. Pop this in here, have that set to, what did I say, 0.9? Yeah, and then we can just pop this right back on top, and we have our little hole here. And that should get us pretty much exactly where we want to go. Turn that back on. And I think this is already ready to go. Yeah, looks like we're going to be in decent shape. Not perfect, but decent. It'll be good enough for what we're trying to accomplish. And look at that coming in. It looks like we're going to be in a pretty favorable position here. Just get the rest of this garbage cleaned up. And then we'll have to get rid of these paths as soon as the rest of this is taken care of. Is that in? It looks like it is. So those stairs go away. Now we do still have to put the rest of our overhangs in. That is an ordeal. It will take a very long time. But if you'll humor me, we'll get it done eventually. Oh, hey, look, a bad tide's coming. Perfect. As you can see, there's still tons of stuff that has to happen, but I remain committed to actually following through with what I say I'm going to do. That's something I have been very, very much trying to take care of to a better degree in my personal life. So, is this, oh, 2 logs? I don't care. I don't care. We're not gonna waste our time. We're not gonna waste our time with that. Is that a single log? That is 2 logs. I keep pausing because I don't want the bad tide to happen yet. It's a process, folks. You're gonna have to trust the process with me. You're gonna have to do it. All right. So the idea is that if I have at least one of these that's ready enough to go, that I can get the rest of this stuff in here, I think I can get away with doing this. And then the reason why I say that is because I have to be able to get rid of the paths under here, but I also have to be able to build the rest of this on top, and they have to have access to the sides here. So if I put a little bit just to make sure that's accessible, then I think we're going to be in decent shape. I also don't have enough metal to do all of this. I am very much aware of that fact. But you know how it goes. I think that should take care of most of our problems. I just want to make sure that's ready to go. And then if I know they can have access to those things, then I know I can come up under here with my Demolish Buildings tool and get rid of all of my paths that I'm never going to need again down here, because this is going to be a beautiful, majestic, perfect, flawless, don't look at it the wrong way and you won't see a problem, aquatic farm. So how deep is our water down here? It's not really deep at all. It's about 0.10, but it's going to continue getting more in, and it's going to continue filling. And we do, at the present time, at least have 2.3 days left. So now we have to check and see what our actual reach is on this. And we've clicked on that. We lower this all the way down. That guy being in this corner means we're going to have access to all but 5, 10, all but 10 squares, 11 technically, of plantable space, which I personally think is fine, but in the interest of completionism, and in the interest of actually, getting stuff done in a quick amount of time in terms of harvesting, I'm going to put a second one right here. But that is not the problem right now. The problem right now is we have to actually have stuff planted down here, or I'm going to go completely insane because I've been recording this for a super, super long time. All right, let's do a little bit of a pattern here, right? We can have cattails going all the way out like this, just straight out from the center. And then I'm going to fill that in with some spatterdock like this. And then we're just going to keep on doing patterns with stuff. Make a nice little, whatever you want to call it. Some plus signs or something. So, you get that put in there, just like so. I think that's probably going to be good to start with. And then I'm going to come in with some spatterdock, I guess like this. Probably would be fine. Keep in mind the end use cases of these crops. Spatterdock gets grilled. This takes 12 days to make 3, so that my math is not mathing. But if it's truly heinous, let me know and we can just replant this. But trying to make this as simplified as possible, and then the rest of this can just become some cattails, and we'll go from there. I don't think there's anything else I can really plant in here. That might end up being way too much spatterdock and not enough cattails, but you take a look at how we have this planted over here, and it's kind of been 50-50 a little bit, but look what's mostly left. It's cattails. So I had the impression that the cattails were going to be what we needed to have the most of. And I think this is going to be fine. I really hope that's not accidentally a problematic symbol, but who knows these days. So that's what they're planting, and they're going to get accomplished. So I guess we can watch them do this a little bit. But it is technically functional, folks. Our aquatic farm is aquatic farming very, 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 very slowly, but it is technically functioning. We just have to get more water in here and hope it doesn't dry out. But I'm going to consider that to be a success. A very, 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 very long... Not frustrating, I had a good time, but I normally don't record 3 hours of material for a single episode, and I don't know how long this one's going to end up being, because I got to cram a lot of this stuff into some sort of crazy amount of condensing. But I think we can be happy knowing that this guy is actually able to start planting stuff, and more importantly, that I actually accomplished something that I said I would accomplish within the time span of the episode that it was supposed to be done. So, oh, I've got a couple more spots I can put some cattails in. But looks to me like that's good to go. We are planting very slowly, as fast as those couple beavers can go. But reinforcements are on the way. And at long last, we're going to be able to say we did it, and we can end the episode, even though this second level's not yet complete. And we can feel pretty good. Not perfect, mind you, but we can feel pretty good about what we've accomplished. The only problem is going to be how do we keep it filled up? So I'm going to give them a little bit of reinforcement here. These will not stop until this is completely full, by the way. So I know this is not a perfect way of doing this, but it is a way of doing it. And we are still going to get some stuff done, even if it takes a long time. And even if it's not perfect. What matters is that we tried. But instead of being some sort of smarmy speech after your Little League team got blasted 85-2, we just get to have fun with the beavers. So, I'm not going to hold you any longer. That's it, folks. Whatever you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll be back in this series on Thursday to see what these beavers are up to. Until then, we'll be in apocalypse mode tomorrow, and then we're going to have to do some sort of modification about the schedule at some point, because there's a lot of stuff we got to get to. And we got too many series going on. We got to start wrapping some stuff up. But, like I said, that's it. Take care. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.